Hello, my name is Shauna Upton, and I'm going to share with you some of my ideas about education. I want to start with what's right about education. We have great teachers. We have great teachers that have been prepared by wonderful universities and districts who are training these phenomenal educators. So why aren't all students meeting or exceeding expectations? When we have all of these wonderful teachers who are so kind and positive that build up their students, who are compassionate, empathetic, and inspire their learners. Many students are simply not motivated. While research in this area is not an exact science, Forbes concludes that about 40% of high school students are chronically disengaged from school. With all the technology in our schools, how can that be? Well, many students and teachers don't realize the problem. It's not that we don't have enough technology. It's that we have too much of fixed mindset thoughts. Fixed mindsets among teachers and students. But what can we do about it? Well, districts can train their teachers to understand growth mindset. Teachers can do more research. And then, in turn, as they learn, teachers can learn how to implement these growth strategies in their own lives and learn how to teach their students to do the same. They can start by changing the way they and their students speak their thoughts, as suggested in the graphic. Instead of saying things like, this is good enough, they can change their thoughts and their words to, is this really my best work? And instead of, I can't make this any better, I can always improve, I'll keep trying, is a much better way of thinking. Instead of saying, I'm just not good at this, they can say, what am I missing? And instead of saying, I give up, students and teachers can say things like, I'll use some of the strategies that I've learned. However, if it's just that simple, what is holding us back? Fear. According to Franklin D. Roosevelt, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. This is especially true when it comes to digital learning. Many teachers are afraid of technology. They're worried it will take too much time to implement, the activities won't be meaningful for their students, and that kids will misuse devices. I know that these same fears have held me back several times in my teaching career, especially when students were first issued Chromebooks. I was so worried that they would misuse them, and occasionally they did. I was also worried that they wouldn't know how to use them, and many of them didn't. Yet, now, those are no longer issues. So how did we overcome these fears? Dive right in. Franklin D. Roosevelt's wife, Eleanor, was obviously supporting him when she suggested that everyone should do one thing every day that scares you. When I was learning to ride a bike, of course, I was terrified. When I was in college and had to give my first speech, I was scared stiff. And of course, I was just trembling with fear as I was learning to be a teacher. I never thought I would really be able to do it. But yet, I'm afraid of none of those things now. And just as I have overcome those fears by simply doing those things, teachers will become more comfortable with digital learning as they immerse themselves. As the kids explore, they too will become less fearful. Learning becomes knowledge as it is gathered, and then wisdom is applying that knowledge. So the only way to become truly wise is by taking all the knowledge we learn and applying it. So as students and teachers learn, we learn the growth mindsets, we learn about digital learning, we can become more wise. The students will make more wise choices. Teachers will be able to give their students more meaningful technological experiences. And in turn, teachers will then embrace digital learning. In my research on how using information and knowledge lead to wisdom, I found the visual on the right. We intake data, process it into information, mentally transfer it into knowledge, which we can internalize then as wisdom. As we move from simple data to wisdom, our ability to organize and create meaning increases. I couldn't help but think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the visual on the left. The two pyramids seem to be connected, and that the more our needs are met, the more wisdom we can possibly attain. I feel that digital learning plays a huge role in the safety level on Maslow's hierarchy. When the students are constantly surrounded by technology that they don't truly understand, it creates a certain level of insecurity, even if they don't realize it. Many of my third grade students were really worried about just logging on to computers at the beginning of this school year. But just last week, they each presented Google slideshows in front of the entire class. But really, there's no need to fear, and many of my students learned this throughout the year this year. They realized that even if they did make mistakes, they could learn from those mistakes. And that is the most important thing about learning, gaining knowledge, using that knowledge to attain wisdom. Of all the lessons you can learn from making mistakes, my favorite is resilience. Mistakes teach us about the importance of hard work. They teach us to never give up. When we think about never giving up, we realize that we can learn so much by just simply trying, moving forward, and not allowing our fixed mindset thoughts to hold us back. We must keep learning all the time. It's a lifelong journey, a process that can be quite enjoyable. I hope to help teachers embrace growth mindsets, especially in the area of digital learning, so that they can grow to love digital learning. I also hope to instill this love of digital learning in my teachers, and in turn, I hope to help them do the same for their students. In closing, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, we should live as if we were to die tomorrow and learn as if we were to live forever. Thank you. I hope you too will embrace digital learning.